Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome and welcome back today with a new video, which is kind of a special, something new that I'm going to try because I want to review Conqueror's Blood by Zamil Akhtar for you. And because it's a book 2 in the series, I want to do my last spoiler-free review for books in this series, but I also want to do a spoiler-filled review as well. So there will be 2 videos. This one is the non-spoiler review. So if you haven't read book 2 yet, but you have read book 1, because there will be spoilers for book 1, this is the video for you. If you want to see what my thoughts are on the book and the scenes that really excited me, check out my description below. There will be a link to the spoiler-filled discussion more. It's really not a review at that point, it's more a discussion. But this video is going to be the non-spoiler review for Conqueror's Blood by Zamil Akhtar, which is book 2 in the Gunmetal Gods Saga. As of filming this, this saga consists of 4 books. I don't even know if the author knows how many books there will be in this series. But to take everything up front when it comes to this review, this is my favorite book in the entire series. So if you remember book 1, we followed Keva and Micah. So you had 2 POVs in book 1, and we followed them as Micah took over the city of Custody, how Keva kind of took it back, and how this whole situation evolved. So in book 2, we are a year after that whole situation, and we are following 2 new characters. We're following Zedra, who is one of the children of Chisti. She's also a blood sorceress, which I will talk in a little bit about as well, because the magic in this book is really, really interesting. The other POV that we're following is Syrah, who's the daughter of a Silgitz. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right. Silgis Kagan. So she is basically a princess. And both are women in the harem of the Shah of Alanya, who is Tamaz. In this book, we are following both of their perspectives over a certain amount of time, and in very typical Zamil Akhtar fashion, at least when it comes to book 1 and 2, you are unlayering the ulterior motives only as you're reading along and as you're digging deeper with these 2 characters. But you don't need to worry. Yes, we are getting 2 new POVs here. Characters from book 1 will show up here as well, though. So you will get your fair share of Keva. You will meet some other characters again that you know from book 1. All right, let's dive a little bit deeper. So this book is very similar to Gunmetal Gods, the first book, in the sense of that you have those 2 POVs and that you're switching back and forth and that you're learning more about them and their ulterior motives as you're progressing in the story. And also very typical to Zamil Akhtar fashion, there's a lot more to it than you might think at the very beginning. One of the things that I really appreciated in this book is these 2 POVs are women, and he is depicting them very well, especially considering that in this world this whole story plays in belittles women, right? There are a lot of women in the harem, they're kind of playthings, but that's not the case with these 2. They're very cunning, they're very smart, funny to an extent in this bleak world. And I thought what he did very well is showing strong female characters in a world where that is not typical, without throwing off the balance as part of the story and as part of the world building. One new thing that you see in this book is a lot of side characters. Yes, you had, of course, side characters in the other books too, but this time I feel these side characters come a little bit more to the forefront, and there are some really important relationships that are being built throughout the story, some with raw emotion that are just incredible to follow. There's something you could consider a love triangle, no worries, not in a YA. He was releasing a breath he didn't know he was holding, not in that sense at all. It's very little, very light, and I find actually more used to further the motivation of one of the characters. Generally, when it comes to those 2 POVs, I think this book is better than book 1. The one negative that I had with book 1 is that it is a bit too fast-paced at times. That pacing is a lot better here. It's not as gory to an extent. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff going on. It is still a bleak world, but he went away with using some of those very extreme scenes to pull out an emotion out of you. So if you've read book 1, you remember smack dab in the middle of the book what happened with Micah and his, well, at that point he thought daughter. There's no scenes like this in this book. And then lastly, the other thing that I like about Conqueror's Blood is the magic system. So there's on one side, I already talked about, right? Zedra is a blood sorceress. So we're getting to know a magic system based off of the flavors of blood and using blood runes to do something with it. And I really enjoyed how it was built up. The things they can do with it is also very interesting. And then there's another type of sorcery that we will meet closer to the end that you might remember also from parts of book 1, and we get a little bit more detail about that as well. And that really opens up the world in a more fantastical sense, whereas book 1 I found was more about the siege and the warfare and the two characters from those opposing sides and how they, you know, experience the siege from their own perspective. This book is more about opening up the world and exploring other aspects of the world we're set in here. And that also includes the gods. So there's a lot more happening with the gods on all those sites again. So you have the same, you know, the site of the Archangel and the site of Lat. There is a lot more depth here because those two MCs are playing a very important role in the gods games. So anything when it comes to really cool magic system, meddling gods, character depth and motivation, expanding on the world building, it is so much deeper than book 1. So yeah, if that wasn't clear, I love book 2 in particular. It's still my favorite book out of the 3 that I've read. We'll see what book 4 will do to me once I've read that one. But there's so many reasons why I love this book 2 much more than book 1. And I think the main reason really is the two female characters. I love how he depicted them. I love how he is showing that women can be strong even in a world where they're suppressed usually, and how he's dealing with that, and how they're learning to, you know, scheme in the same political games that their male counterparts are doing, and how they're learning to adjust as they're going. It is so well done. And then anything else that I liked about book 1, right? I just love the world. I love the Middle Eastern inspiration. I love the colorfulness and the flavor that these books come with. The descriptions are so vivid and it's just exciting to read. 5 roaring stars for me. I couldn't give this any other rating really. And I hope if you read book 1 and you either weren't sure if you want to continue with book 2, or if you have been waiting for whatever reason to continue with the series, I hope this review gets you a bit excited about it, that you want to pick up Conqueror's Blood. And before I leave you, a quick quote from page 15. The third floor was nothing like the others. In perfect rows, spices of every color, even sky blue, sat piled in polished glass cauldrons. Cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, saffron, sumac, cumin, caraway, coriander, cloves, cardamom, to name the ones I was familiar with. Every food smell imaginable invaded my nose, as if an army of kebabs, lamb shanks, and mutton balls were on the march. And it was all the work of one man. Yummy. All right, thanks so much for joining me in my quick non-spoiler review for Conqueror's Blood by Zamil Akhtar. Once you read it, definitely go check out the spoiler-filled review. If you want to refresh your memory, that is totally fine. You can check out the review of book 1 spoiler-free as well over here. And then if you want to see my thoughts on book 3, click on the subscribe button so you can get notified as soon as I have it uploaded. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and that I will see you soon with my next video. Bye!